October 17th, 2024, 3:36 p.m. I've arrived in Zion on a windy day, under a sky filled with beautiful clouds. After getting camp set up, I've ventured off to a familiar side canyon to evaluate the progress of fall color. As I write this, I'm enjoying the sweet vanilla scent of ponderosas and the soothing sound of a gentle breeze rustling nearby leaves. Last year's trip saw near-perfect conditions. Great color, no clouds, very little wind. It was almost too perfect. I captured a wide variety of photographs on last year's visit, and although I'm satisfied with the work, it felt too easy, as though I didn't work for those images. This year's trip will be different. A storm is on the way, and by this time tomorrow, this wash will come alive with flowing water as thunder echoes between canyon walls. Or at least that's what the forecast shows. With the near perfection of last year's visit now behind me, I find myself rooting for chaos. We'll see. Well, good morning, everyone. The storm last night certainly didn't disappoint. I don't think it dropped a lot of rain, but it was quite heavy at times. Lots of thunder and lightning, some hail. And today, supposed to be a pretty good chance of rain. I think they're saying about 70%. And so it's going to be overcast for much of the day. I think it's going to clear a little bit more toward the afternoon. And then again tonight there's another chance of rain. So this isn't particularly great weather when it comes to the type of photography I like doing here. Because I love it when the light bounces around in the canyons. A little bit of a quicksand there. And it's just a very dynamic light. So I'm taking this as an opportunity to scout around a little bit, revisit some past subjects, see how they're doing, and get an idea for things to pursue in the coming week or so when the sun comes out again and get all that nice light. When it comes to the fall color, it seems to be maybe running a hair late this year. But I think this storm, which is a little bit of a cooler one, might really get the maples going. Because it does not take much for the maples to start turning colors. And once they do, only got a few days or so, and then the show is done. So it's good that the storm passed before the color started changing, because otherwise the wind last night probably would have stripped a lot of the trees of their leaves. I'm gonna go check out my little cactus friend here and see how it's doing this year. It sure has changed. I think this slope here has eroded a little bit and it's starting to fall down the slope. And it definitely doesn't have the very clean shape that it had last year. I was going back through some of my scouting photos. I think it was from 2021 when I first noticed this scene. And the cactus was tiny back then. It was maybe 2 pads, and it's grown up so much, and it really just gives a feeling for how much things change. These small things that you don't really notice if you just go to a location once, but by revisiting time and time again, you notice these changes in the trees, the cactus, the erosion, everything else, and there's so many opportunities as a result. So I'm very glad that I photographed this last year when I did, because it just doesn't have quite the same shape anymore. It really does give a feeling for how much things change. All right, so that was 2.5 seconds of 45, and I added a half a stop for compensating for the bellows overextension. But I found this scene. This is an area I've had my eye on for many years now, and I just love all the pine cones and the pine needle litter, and it's very consistent right now. And because of the rain overnight, some of the pine cones have gone really dark. Other ones are a little bit lighter, and especially those pine needles stand out against the darkness of the other pine cones and then the earth below it. I photographed a similar scene a few years back, but it was in reflected light, a little bit of a different look to it, and it wasn't damp like this, so it'll be interesting to see how this compares. It feels like rain's on the way right now. It's getting a little darker. But I think I'm going to do one more sheet of film, this time with a warming filter, because this might go a little bit cool without the warming filter, which actually might look better. But I'd like to have the option either way. So let's get the warming filter on here and do another sheet. Well, it is around noon now. The skies overhead have cleared out quite a bit. A lot of blue sky. While I was taking a picture of the pine cones, it got really dark and felt like it was going to rain a bit, but just a few drops fell. But these washes certainly got reworked from when I was here yesterday. It's hard to tell what the high water mark was in this area, but it's pretty high. There's this area down around the corner where there was this little sandy bank, and there's this little box elder tree that was growing there, and I was debating photographing it yesterday, but that little tree is not there anymore, so rest in peace, little guy. But I'm going to wander here now that we have some blue sky and some direct light in areas. I'm going to some of these deep bends of the canyon that get a nice kind of glow throughout the day and see what I can find. So the trees here are still very green. I'd say fall color is running a little bit late. So I'm keeping my eye out for interesting mud patterns and rocks and stuff like that. But despite it being a Friday and the weekend crowd starting to show up, still pretty quiet here once you get a little off the beaten path. But we keep wandering and see what else we can find. I photograph the pine cones both with and without a warming filter, and I prefer the more natural version without the filter. The sky that day was overcast, and the light was neutral, so the filter was unnecessary. I love how the dark, rain-soaked pine cones contrast so nicely with the pine needles, especially when paired with the warm tones of the freshly fallen pine cones. I've had my eye on the subject for many years, and all it needed was a bit of rain. Thanks as always for watching, and we'll see you around next time. You may have noticed this video has no ads and no sponsors, and I think it's nicer that way. If you enjoy this ad-free and clickbait-free content and want to help me live my dream, a voluntary contribution through PayPal or by joining my Patreon helps keep my gas tank full and my film freezer stocked. You can find more information by visiting my website at benhorne.com/donate. I also have prints, ebooks, and my annual portfolio is available on my website. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you around next time.